Many of you know that I went through this whole deal with burning out and quitting my job. And then when I came back and got another job, I decided to kind of stay away from programming and took a design job. And that's what I've been doing for the last, 7, 8 months now. And recently I made a video talking about how I haven't really written any code in a really long time. In the last couple weeks, I've actually gotten back into writing code, and I'm learning some new tech that I've been wanting to learn, and I'm building something. And I'm really feeling like that fire has been lit for my passion for learning, and I feel good. And that's a feeling that I haven't had in a while. Like I said, I got really burnt out, and I really thought that it had a lot to do with programming itself. I realize now that I was mistaken. I realized that there was a lot of other factors that were playing into my burnout. Some of it had to do with YouTube. Some of it had to do with bad lifestyle. Some of it had to do with just not being happy at work. But starting a side project and coding some stuff out and getting to know some new tech has really helped me a lot recently to realize how much I enjoy this stuff and how much I really do like programming and writing code and building stuff. It's weird because it's a feeling that I used to get when I first started learning how to code, and it's a feeling that I kind of lost somewhere in between all that time I spent learning and then actually getting a job and then working as a developer and then going through that whole grind to lead up to where I was and getting to a point where I felt that maybe it wasn't what I expected it to be, but now I'm starting to remember what made me kind of fall in love with it and want to learn it and made me want to get good at it and made me want to pursue this stuff as a career. Like, I've rekindled that and it feels great. It honestly feels really great. But like I mentioned, there was so many other factors that played into what made this not feel good. And a lot of it had to do with lifestyle and mental health issues and addiction and things that I was struggling with personally. And I did talk about that stuff a little bit, but I guess I just didn't realize how much it was impacting my overall well-being and my desire to do the work that I was doing and enjoy the thing that I once was really passionate about. Everybody eventually goes through some form of burnout in their life. You don't just have to be a developer. You don't just have to be someone who's learning how to code. Like I said, it was a lot of factors that played into my burnout and my depression and issues that I was having. It wasn't just because I was programming and felt like a code monkey. It was years in the making. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. It's something that started probably from when I was spending 16 hours a day learning how to code. And then when I went and started working as a developer at my first job, and I was working 8 hours a day and then taking work home with me and still working after work and working on the weekends. And then when I left that job and went to another job and started working again, but that time I swore off working on my free time for work stuff. But then I picked up other things that occupied my time, then eventually YouTube, and then so many years of just like work to the point where I burnt out, right? And of course, I've talked about a lot of this stuff already, and I don't want to go too far into that. I just wanted to talk about it to raise some of the awareness behind the mental health aspect of pursuing a high burnout career and being an individual who tends to hyper focus and go crazy and go all in and tunnel vision on a thing and do it so much to the point where doing that one thing for so long until I have a mental breakdown and quit my job, pack my bags, and take my family across Europe because I think it's going to be what fixes my problems, and then to come back and then still feel that stuff and then say, I need to get away from this thing because this is the one thing that is making me unhappy, and realizing that it wasn't. And recognizing that is something that has really helped me out a lot. Also, dealing with a lot of the other things that were messing with my mental health and just not taking care of myself, right? Because I was doing that too, and that played a major part in all of this. And I'm glad that I realized that I needed to start taking care of my mental health. But honestly, I wish I would have done it sooner. And if you're someone right now who's struggling with mental health issues and you're putting it off, you really shouldn't. And I really got to say that after focusing on myself, taking care of my mental health, and just focusing on self-care for a while, it's given me a new outlook and a new perspective on like what I want from my work life, what I want from my family life, what I want from my YouTube and my side hustles, and what I want from programming. And I've had a lot of time to think about this. And while I'm still not completely happy working a 9 to 5, it's what's necessary for now. But my wife and I are putting plans into action for things that we might do here in the near future, where maybe we might travel again. Maybe I might actually try to focus on maybe some indie hacking or freelancing or pursuing different streams of revenue with my programming skills, because I feel that I'm at a point in my career and a point in my life where I'm not feeling the inspiration and the passion with my job. Like, I have a passion for programming and I really enjoy coding. I do feel that I have enough skills with programming to be able to make a career out of that on my own, but more solo and entrepreneurial than the traditional 9 to 5 way. My reasoning for this now is different. It's different than it was when I first burnt out and quit my job. I'm thinking of it differently, and I'm also in a much better mental place right now. And while taking a break from programming did help with that, I think that just taking a break in general was good, like the whole trip and all that. And I think that old saying, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was. I feel like I did that recently, taking on this designing role. Like, I'll be honest, I don't like design work. The work itself is pretty boring. Like, moving pixels around on a screen isn't my cup of tea. What I do like from the design work, which is really what all of software development is the problem solving, trying to make a good user experience and trying to put that into action and talking it out with business and the users and figuring out what's the best way to serve the product to the customer and to the user who's going to be using this interface and this product, and structuring that and figuring out what's the best way to make things easier for the people that are using it. Like, that's really the whole point of UI UX design. I enjoy a lot of that part of it, but I don't enjoy like moving files around and moving frames on Figma. I don't enjoy that. But I'm starting to like find myself, as cheesy as that sounds, and I'm finding myself with the work that I want to do. And that new outlook and the way I'm thinking about things now has really been helping me start making decisions that will impact my future here pretty soon, because at the end of the day, what I feel that I like to do is to help people. I started this channel to share my story and help people. I didn't realize that I needed to like help myself first and take care of myself first. And I didn't do that. And I focused a lot on that recently. I'm going on like 4 months sober. I'm in really good shape physically and mentally. I've been taking care of my mental health. I've been going to therapy. I've been doing everything I need to make sure that I'm in the right place for my next move. All of this stuff, like with the burnout and leaving and coming back and going back to a job and doing design, doing programming, like all of this stuff has been like a really wild and crazy ride for me. It's a ride that started off with me taking the chance on learning a new skill and seeing how far I could go with it. I'm really curious on where this will take me in the future and like how much further I can go with it. But I know that my ceiling is kind of capped when I work at a job. Like, I'm only going to be able to get a promotion or move up within a company so much. Like, I'm only going to be able to do so much when I'm in a container, right? In the container of a workplace. And maybe breaking out of that eventually will let me explore to see how far I can go. My advice for this video, where I'm just kind of ranting a little bit about my burnout and like my little break from programming and rekindling that passion. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that you do throughout your life. Like, you might pick up learning how to code and it might not end up being your thing. I know that there's a lot of people who watch my channel who aren't programmers or may have started off learning how to code and just still watch my content. By the way, I appreciate you. What I'm saying is that no matter where you start, that journey doesn't have to end with the one thing that you try to do. Your journey is just going to constantly keep going. Like, you're going to bounce around, and sometimes the thing that you start off doing might not be the thing that you end up doing, and your original goals might change, but that's okay. If you start feeling like you're overwhelmed, if you start feeling burnt out because of something that you chose to do that you're no longer enjoying, that it's not what you expected it to be, take the things that you've learned from that point of your journey, the things that you acquired along the way of where you started and where you're at now with that thing you set out to do, and figure out how you can use those things to help you along in the next step. and recognize when you're not happy, but try to really like look within yourself and figure out what it is that's making you unhappy. Because for a long time, I thought a 6-figure job was going to make me happy. And then at one point, I thought quitting my job was going to make me happy. And then another point was traveling to Europe was going to make me happy. Growing a YouTube channel, getting 100,000 subscribers. All this different stuff was stuff that I thought was going to make me happy and eventually burnt me out. And now I'm realizing that that's okay. It's kind of part of the process. But now I try to be better and recognize when I could potentially be affecting myself negatively. And I try to do the right things to stay on track and do the things that bring me joy and bring me value while still trying to keep my head clear and focus on the things that I need to focus on and finding the things that I want to continue to keep doing. That way I can grow and learn and see where the next step of this journey takes me. All right, I feel like that kind of went a little off topic there, and I hope that putting all of this together helps someone out there, and just sharing my story and kind of sharing where I'm at with a lot of what's been going on helps. And if it does, make sure you hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.